Hello and welcome to Sega News Bits. I'm Barry, with me is George.
Like always.
Yeah, like always, but unlike always, we are also joined by two SEGAbits contributors, writers. We have Kori-Maru.
Konnichiwa.
And we have Bartman3010.
I'm so very tired.
And so these guys, they represented SEGAbits at E3. Bartman, you also attended for Sonic Retro, correcto?
Yes.
Yes, and then, we want to hear all about Sonic Mania, so let's get right into that. First off, have you guys played Sonic Mania before? I'm asking Corey first.
I played Sonic Mania at the Sonic 25th anniversary party.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of had it over at Sonic and Sega Fan Jam. Only got to play it like twice during that time last year, but this year I got to play like at least I got to at least play it like 3 or 4 times.
Okay, and Bartman, have you played it prior to this?
Oh, sort of the same deal. I played it at the 25th anniversary party, and it was much easier to play it there compared to E3, let me tell you, because, you know, with the anniversary party, you just had, you know, a set crew of people, and then by the time that the day was ending, made it much easier to just parade the demo booths and just play it that way. But over at E3, it was a completely different story, which we'll get into.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, first off, I want to hear your experiences with the demo. What did you play? Anything new that you noticed that you didn't notice the first time, Bartman?
So I noticed that they've made a few changes to Mirage Saloon and to some of the finer details of the game as well, compared to the last time that they were showing it, and as well when they were showing it through their social media feeds like YouTube or Twitter or something like that. Most notable difference I can say is they put in a few more indicators for some of the pickups, like the combined ring, where you pick it up and if you lose rings, you get those giant rings that give you like a good swell of rings back into you know, what you've collected. It's now indicated by changing the font, the text to blue, and also giving a little indication saying that you have picked up the item. But other than that, it seems like they may have changed the layouts a little bit. Of course, I only played as Sonic, and I was just trying to do what I can to work with the drop dash ability, which is probably my favorite thing to do, because I didn't play as Tails or Knuckles, but I wanted to see how high and how far I could get into the air with Sonic just using like spin dashing and drop dashing abilities. But other than that, they were also showing Green Hill Act 2, which was also previously shown at through their YouTube feed and stuff like that. But for the demo, they were actually showing off the Death Egg robot, which it's an interesting way to give the boss like, I don't know how well, here, let's put it this way. For the boss, there were a couple of things that I thought were a little strange. A couple of things in the demo I thought were strange, but starting with the boss, they made it so that you can, well, it's chasing you, and you have to make use of the terrain that you're running on to basically help you gain height. And if you're not that good of a player, you can still make use of the arms that the robot shoots at you by climbing onto them and then hitting the robot head on.
Exactly.
But of course, you have a set amount of time before the robot actually runs off the level. But I was a little confused because you could actually run under the robot's legs because it doesn't cause any damage. But if you try to hit it, it will automatically send you to the right, and usually that'll send you into the arms of the robot or something that'll cause damage to you. So I'm not sure if that's entirely intentional, but it's a really cool boss fight overall. A couple other problems I ran into was there was a special stage ring room where you could leave from the top by hitting a spring that's in the floor, but when I did that, it would send you into this area that was full of water, and when you reach the left of whatever that area was that led you to go back up, the screen scrolled up and killed me.
What?
Which was, I think, I think that was a mistake. In fact, talking to one of the developers there, he said, yeah, that's already been fixed, because apparently that build that they were showing was already 2 months old, and some of the bugs that people were running into, people have already, they've already taken care of it.
Well, that's good. That's good that they're keeping tabs on those sorts of things. I mean, remember Sonic 4? There would be things that people would be pointing out for months, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, we should tell Japan that." You know?
Yeah, no, they do what they can to keep an eye on what goes on. In fact, a lot of the problems I've sounded off on the game, I've basically been told that they've already been taken care of. They seem adamant of watching everything like a hawk, but something's bound to slip through. But that's just how game development goes.
That's good. That's good. I want to hear a bit from Kori-Maru. Specifically, who did you play as? What did you play? And was there anything new you noticed? And I guess just to ask my last question in this too, anything you didn't like?
Okay. So first off, I think I played a little bit of everybody. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. I played Sonic through Green Hill Zone. Blast through Green Hill Zone. I used the drop dash to test some of this features and stuff. So I did the same tricks from the older Sonic games where you just speed run through the whole game and stuff, and Sonic can actually keep up with momentum. So that's something they did really right with that. I only played Tails and Knuckles only on Mirage Saloon, and the only difference I've noticed from the demo from earlier to now is some of the music is kind of it has a different tempo, especially with Mirage Saloon, and Green Hill Zone Act 2 has more of a tropical feel to it. So so in Sonic 3 or Knuckles where you transfer to the next level, and the music is more upbeat and more up tempo. They really did a good job on that.
The more I listened to the Green Hill Act 2 song, it sounded like that they were actually channeling Sonic CD with Palm Tree Panic's music. It sounded very similar. If you go back and listen to one of the direct feed ones, you can definitely catch it.
Oh yeah. Tails and Knuckles were a lot of fun. It adds more variety, since the older classic Sonic games where you can find alternative paths. The level layout is a combination of all 4 Sonic games from the Genesis days, where they have platforming from Sonic 1, the linear stages from Sonic 2, the length of the levels from Sonic 3, and the way the levels were structured in Sonic CD. So it's a good combination of all of those 4 classic Sonic games.
So I got a question. When you picked Tails or Knuckles, do they change up the levels, or is it basically the same level, but you just play as Sonic and Knuckles and Tails?
It's basically the same level that everybody plays. They play the same level and stuff, and I know Knuckles is supposed to go through a different path when you play as him in Mirage Saloon, because that's what they demonstrated in some of their videos. Yeah.
And do they work as good as Sonic or Tails? Did you enjoy one more than the other?
I want to say I enjoy Sonic more because he gets to the level a lot quicker. But Tails and Knuckles, you have more player options and stuff to play as them and stuff. If you want to try, going through different routes and stuff for replay value. I like that since Sonic the Hedgehog 3, where after you beat the game with one character, you try to with a different character for the next one.
I feel like the differences in characters plays a larger role, especially I actually put up a video of me playing through Mirage Saloon as Sonic, and one of the things that I really liked about the drop dash is that it made it easier to use his speed to get to extra heights much easier than if I were to rely on Tails or Knuckles, or at least if I were to rely on Tails to get to bigger heights. Basically you could do a drop dash and then jump from maybe in the middle of a ramp, and that would help. That helped me get on top of a totem pole. Then I would use another drop dash to get to another platforming area with another totem pole that was higher up that Sonic can't reach normally. And I think that's the difference in characters plays a bigger role, because if you try to fly as Tails or try to climb walls as Knuckles, they do it very slowly.
Yeah.
But with Sonic, you can do it, and you can do it very quickly if you know how to take advantage of the platforming sections. But if you can't, obviously Tails and Knuckles are still there to make it much easier. And you know, even with the drop dash ability, you could probably see it sort of like, you know, a speedrunner mechanic. But I also just see it as like, you don't have to even use the drop dash maneuver like you want to sequence break a level or anything like that. Like, I just think that the ceiling or the skill level can be played by just about anybody, and if you go back and play it, you understand how the mechanics work a little better. You can reach new areas with any of the characters, but with Sonic, you're guaranteed to go at it at like the fastest possible way because of his speed. But
oh yeah,
that's good to know. George, I had one more question. I don't know if you had any more.
One more after this one. Yeah.
Okay, well, mine relates to the lines. Maybe that's your question.
Yeah, that was my question. Go for it.
So, how long did you wait to play the game, and how would you say it compared to the other games? And we'll discuss their lines in their separate videos. So, either one of you, if you have the answer.
Like, you mean the other games at Sega's booth?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd probably say about Mania and Forces were both about 25 to 30 minutes just to wait to be able to get to another game. Like, I've heard from other games at the show floor, not relating to Sega, you were waiting upwards of between 3 to 6 hours just to play a game.
It was packed.
Yeah, like, this is the first year that they've allowed the public to come in since well over a decade at this point. But the like, you still had long lines to contend with, but it was made even longer now that there was like over 70,000 people attending that event. But for like the other games, like let's say Yakuza, or Yakuza wasn't as long, but I would imagine. I mean, Kori has a much better idea of like how that went, but I think I would probably say all of them were almost equal. Sonic was probably a little bit longer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I agree with him on that.
Like, they had a pretty strong showing this year at E3, even with the Atlas games that I unfortunately didn't get a chance to check out.
So I guess, typically we throw questions to the people watching. So if you have any questions, for these guys, sound off and maybe they'll answer you on their own account, or maybe we'll ask them if it's a good enough question. And
thanks for watching.
Thanks.